No fear of police and no concern for anyone. Opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, says last Friday's robbery of a Beryllium Limited security team at a Scotia Bank in Mandeville, Manchester, is a reminder of the failed crime-fighting efforts of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Mr. Bunting was speaking at a constituency conference and candidate presentation in West Portland last night. Opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, last week predicted that Jamaica will end 2023 at close to 1,400 murders if the current rate of homicides continues. On Sunday, he again criticized the JLP for what he said is a reality where gunmen act as though they are in charge of the country.
You came, you said you had the ideas, but instead you are bankrupt of ideas. And we're tired of the excuses. We're demanding that he performs. And I tell you something else. Thank you, the comrade correct me. She said too late, film correct. Him have to go now. Pack his bags and go. Thank you very much.
The attack on the Beryllium couriers occurred shortly after 5 p.m. on Friday. Footage circulating online show men with high-powered weapons making their escape with 2 bags presumably containing cash. The incident left 5 bystanders injured. On Saturday, the police said a suspected getaway driver was apprehended.
I was in Mandeville yesterday, 6 o'clock on a Friday evening. Busy road jam, people have to go about them business to them business. All of a sudden, pure automatic rifle. When some of you must see the video clips going around, it's like why you sit on show.
Senator Bunting stressed that he was alarmed the attack took place during such a busy period.
Gunmen up and down with them long rifles, like how they own the place. No, I'm gonna say we do a bad man all the time. But first time is by night, them used to come and run. No, broad daylight, busy traffic hour. Well, I'm sorry for the people who have to move the cash.
The opposition lawmakers scolded the government for not implementing stronger crime deterrence.
That is what has been delivered under this JLP administration. And after 7 years, Andrew Holness must stop the excuses. He must stop finding excuses and find people for blame for his failure to control crime in this country. For his failure to provide for the safety and security of the population of the Jamaican.
Over 150 schools across the island have already been outfitted with CCTV cameras ahead of the new academic school year. During an interview on TVJ Smile Jamaica, Education Minister Favour Williams said the ministry is halfway there based on its timeline for this fiscal year. Carrie-Ann Simpson has the details.
1,955 cameras are currently installed at the entrance of 154 schools in Jamaica. Education Minister Favour Williams says it will cost close to $1.5 billion to install cameras at all 1,010 public schools across the island.
To have schools with a minimum of 16 cameras at our primary schools and about 40 cameras at each of our high schools, and to have those cameras connected to the Jamaica ICE system, which is going to be easier for us given the very, very significant connectivity program that we have underway in our schools right now. Yep.
But Minister Williams says the ministry is making significant progress in erecting perimeter fences around schools.
Not all of them are vulnerable, so we will prioritize the ones that are in areas in which already community members are just walking through with a cutlass or whatever. We have those situations. So we'll prioritize those schools.
The Education Minister explained the traditional watchman system will be upgraded to having security guards. Additionally, she addressed the issue of the deployment of resource officers to individual schools instead of one officer to several schools.
We've had to work with the Ministry of National Security in terms of the deployment. It has not been possible for them to place a policeman in every school.
Correct.
So we have had to go to a cluster of resource officers, for a cluster of schools, until we are able to get additional policemen that can be in our schools. We just have to work with what we have.
In the meantime, Mrs. Williams says the ministry is in a better position this school year than the last.
If we look at how early we were able to procure textbooks, the work we've done with desks and chairs, in terms of teachers in the classrooms as well, we're expecting more teachers to be in our classrooms. We've got a good flow of new teachers into the system. We still have our agreement with Cuba for teachers, and we have more of them this year than we did last year.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
Consultations are ongoing about possibly renaming the intersection close to Devon House. Now, the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation has proposed the major crossing to be called the Sel Square, named after Jamaica's first black millionaire who built Devon House. Javon Keys reports.
The intersection of Hope, Waterloo and Trafalgar Roads in the vicinity of Devon House could soon be called the Sel Square. The idea was announced a few weeks ago, and the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation says it's been conducting consultations. Chairman of the KSAMC, Delroy Williams, says the feedback so far is mostly positive.
So we would have placed our intention to begin the process for the naming of Sel Square on social media, and we have been receiving feedback on it, and people have been seeking clarity. People have been adding to it and sharing their views, and some persons supporting, some persons raising concerns with other issues. And so we would have been doing that. Today we decided to have an in-person town hall meeting.
But who is the man at the center of the proposed rename? Sel is the name behind one of Jamaica's most famous landmarks, Devon House, which he built in 1881. He was Jamaica's first black millionaire who was involved in the cargo business in the mid-1800s and later precious minerals such as gold.
He was the custos of St. Andrew. He was the chairman of the parochial board. He was a member of the Board of Education. He was the chairman of the Union of Poor Houses, which made significant contributions and meaningful contributions to the poor.
So why the change and why now?
Our vision is to transform the city of Kingston into a destination city, an international city. And part of that is really to promote the strong points of the city of Kingston, which we believe is culture, and we are music history, creative city of music, we are a cultural city, but we are also, in a very strong way, a historical city. And we believe that the history of our city must come to the fore.
Consultations on the matter are expected to continue. It's not clear when the final decision will be made.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. They are Jamaica's future. That's the message that was reinforced to students within the St. Catharines South Division through the Community Safety and Security Police Youth Social Intervention Program.
The program, which is in its second year, awarded several youngsters at a recent ceremony. Keynote speaker Delroy Dabney underscored the responsibility parents have to prepare the youth for the next generation.
That a community, a village is required in order to nurture the next generation.
But the youth also have an essential step to take.
I want you to start to vision within yourself. What is it that I'm going to be within the next 5 years? I want you to start to document that. If I had a plain sheet of paper, I would ask you to write on that paper, what is it that I'm skilled in? What is it that I believe that I can do in the now to make me a better person? I want you to look in the mirror I want you to say to yourself, I am, as I've been saying to you, the best that there is.
Mr. Dabney reassured the youngsters that going into the new academic school year, they all possess untapped possibilities.
And something has to find and tap into that possibilities in order for you to realize your fullest potential. Because the future is depending on you.
Justice of the Peace Bishop Karen Reed Hyman, who is the zone coordinator, said JPs are not only there to stamp documents and write recommendation letters. She said shaping the nation's youth should be a top priority of the group. Mrs. Reed Hyman also encouraged the parents to get their children involved in the program.
We're looking forward to enlarge this program in the next segment, where we'll be having the parental training seminar, where we can allow the parents to interact with us so we can help to build a better home.
Deputy Superintendent of Police Paulette Baker is the officer in charge of the program. She said the initiative received the stamp of approval from the Commissioner of Police, as it was seen as timely and extremely necessary.
We are willing to do what we can to help our children so they can be better persons in our society.
Hal Shaneberg, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute.
The central bank continues to defend the statement made by its governor, Richard Biles, which cautioned private sector companies from giving massive salary increases to employees. Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Robinson, says there could be serious economic consequences if the warning is not heeded.
If we get into that situation, such that there is now an additional risk to inflation, because Bank of Jamaica is responsible for managing inflation, we then have to then sit back and consider what other monetary policy action or what additional monetary policy action that we have to take.
We're going to feel it.
Exactly. And so it's important, that's why as a central bank, the governor had to bring this to the nation's attention, because it's an issue that we have to warn about.
Further afield, shares in embattled Chinese property developer Evergrande have fallen almost 80% in their first day of trading in Hong Kong for a year and a half. On Sunday, the firm posted a $4.5 billion loss for the first 6 months of the year. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Hal Shaneberg.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell has renewed calls for the United Kingdom to apologize for slavery in the Caribbean and to pay reparations. In an interview with the UK magazine, Prime Minister Mitchell criticized Britain for capturing and enslaving African people, adding that their failure to show remorse sends a bad message. Multiple ministers of former colonies have asked, however, neither King Charles or British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak have offered apologies or commitments to pay reparations. On the international scene, 4 asylum seekers have died and 18 others rescued after their boat capsized off the Greek island of Lesbos. The survivors were transferred to Mytilene, the main city on Lesbos. No details were officially given about the nationalities or condition of those rescued. And 3 U.S. Marines were killed and several others injured after an aircraft crashed during a military exercise in Australia. 5 others were taken to the hospital and are in serious condition. The cause of Sunday's incident is being investigated. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. We head to a quick break. When we come back, Jordan Ford will have your midday sports report.